hello, friends and fiends. Welcome back to another episode of Dr. Movie, the show I do while I'm driving down the road. And, I've been doing this whole idea of Giallo January, and I've kind of blown that all to crap because I'm looking for the next movie, and my mind goes, nope, we're watching Futurekick. It was really that simple, right? Flipping through, and there's the artwork. This guy kind of looks like the Terminator on there with the glasses and everything. Right. And it's called Futurekick. Come on. I mean, if anybody knows me, this is like drugs for me. All right? So, yeah, we're talking about 1991, the action-adventure martial arts flick Futurekick, which is starring none other than Don the Dragon Wilson, right? Need I say more? It's got Don the Dragon in it. I mean, come on. And you got Chris Penn in here. Not as big of a character as you would think, but he's definitely in this movie. And then you got Meg Foster in here. So this is pretty much everything I look for in a movie, right? And this movie was, it's a new Concord production, which will really play into a lot of the stuff in a little while. You'll know what I mean. But yeah, let's talk about this. So, quick synopsis. An armed kickboxer goes up against a corporation dealing in black market body parts. Wow. Yeah, but that's not really the story at all. An armed kickboxer. He's an android. It's almost like they just took every other movie he's ever been in and just, he's a kickboxer. Let's just put that on the card. No, man, he's a built android to be like the new RoboCop or even the Terminator. It's the future state of law enforcement. That's what he is. This movie's got a lot of stuff in it, man. I was actually really impressed. Dated for sure. And it's got everything that you kind of expect from this kind of movie. But I don't know. It's done pretty genius-like. There's a lot of virtual reality stuff that's tied into this movie. So Meg Foster is married to this guy. He's a big wig. He's invented virtual reality systems, right? Dead up everything that we kind of see now. Really, it's pulling from Total Recall. This movie kind of pulls from everything that Schwarzenegger's been in. That's kind of what this is. They just rolled up everything from all the different movies, and there you go. Sis boom ba. It's a movie. And so this guy's invented this system, and apparently, unless I got my wires crossed, they live on the moon. This is in the future, right? Because it's Futurekick, not modern kick. So, they live on the moon because the world's overpopulated. The world is a slime hole. And her husband has to go to Earth and do some kind of business, right? Now, this guy, his home, he's got the virtual reality stuff going on. And he's got a Siri-type system, so way ahead of the curve there. But what's funny about this, I brought up the new Concord thing earlier, which if you know anything about that, you're tying back into Roger Corman. The system has a head that lights up. And when I say head, it's just like a bulb-looking thing. But what it is, if any of you are familiar with Battle Beyond the Stars, and the spaceship that John Boy flies, and it's got that talking thing that he talks to, and it blinks and stuff. It's the same thing mounted in his house. Now, it might have still been on the ship, and they just used the clips of it and put a man's voice over it. But it's the exact same thing. So I was kind of giddy about seeing that in this movie. But, and that just shows you again how kind of, this is 91, and we're already talking about these kind of systems. There's even some telecommunications done through video and stuff in here as well. You know, some pretty up-and-coming ideas that now are reality, which that's usually how this rolls with the sci-fi stuff. That's why I like watching it. But he has to go do business on Earth, and he's dealing with a company called New Body. And they basically can take your organs or whatever, put them in a new body, and let you keep living on in the body that you want, and all kinds of enlargements and implants and all these things, right? So you're tying into all that as well. And back at the beginning of the movie, you've got the dragon and another guy who are, like I said, are these Terminator-type characters. And they're on the run because corporate police are trying to shut them down. So it's that whole fear of them actually taking over the people. They're nervous about the Skynet, all that kind of crap, right? So they're trying to wipe them out. So they're just minding their own business, walking down the street, wearing their shades, and, you know, these corporate police come up and start giving them trouble. So they take off, and what happens is when the husband gets to Earth, he feels like somebody's after him, so he wants to hire Don the Dragon Wilson as a bodyguard. Now this guy, Don the Dragon Wilson, and all of his kind are going around, they're looking at, you know, the billboards of people that are wanted, and they're going out and collecting the bounty. So they're basically cyborg bounty hunters now at this point, because they can't find any other work. So they're having to work underground and do this kind of work. And so the guy, Nick Foster's husband, wants to hire him, but when he shows up to take the job, it's already too late, because there's a guy that works for New Body that basically goes around with Wolverine-type fingers. I don't know if it's a glove or if it's a fixture that he holds in his hands, but he just basically rams it into people and rips their hearts out. This could have been a giallo, except you know who's doing it the whole time. But it's pretty effective. I'm going to say the body count gets almost as high as a Friday the 13th in this Joker, because he's just waylaying people with this gloved, you know, Wolverine hand thing. Yeah, quite a big body count. I am glad to know that in the future, on Earth, the biggest pastime is still strip clubs and playing lethal video games. There's this thing called was it laser blast? I think it's laser blast. They've got these two people sitting in these chairs where they're completely strapped down. Their hands can't move except their fingers and their wrists, but they're you know, like down on the chair. They can't lift their arms, and they've got a controller, and it's controlling this laser, and it goes back and forth between two people till you screw up, and then it just kills you. And this is pastime. People are coming in there gambling on it, and so you get to see how this thing works. And these are your pastimes, right, on Earth. Before Meg Foster's husband leaves, he leaves her a sample of this virtual reality thing for her to try out. And he warns her about it and stuff, and he said, I've got to go, I got to take care of this business because this could be a big seller, and that's the reason he's gone. Well, he, like I said, bites the dust. She gets the phone call that he's dead, and so she rushes to Earth trying to find out what happened, who killed him, and of course find out that her husband was messing around with one of the strippers, you know, like you do. And she's on the hunt, and she's staying at the place where her husband was going to be at, and then Don the Dragon Wilson shows up wanting to take the job, even though the husband's dead. So he walks back out. Well, she ends up contacting him later on, hiring him for the job anyways to help her find out who the killer is. And like I said, everybody's tied into this new world. All the police chiefs, they're all getting paid under the table to be a part of this because they're basically harvesting organs, right? So it's like Repo the Genetic Opera, just without all the music, which is fine with me. But yeah, you kind of got that feel because people are paying high dollars for organs, not like they're not now, but you know, that's kind of the whole premise behind all of this. And you know, there are people involved that are trying to show that this thing's not on the up and up, and showing that it's basically still just murder any way you want to look at it. They're murdering people to harvest the organs, and that kind of gets everybody in trouble, and that's why this go around with this Wolverine figures and killing people. So needless to say, you got Don the Dragon Wilson fighting Chris Penn, who I never knew any martial arts. Maybe he does, maybe he don't. But you get a big showdown here. Now, Chris Penn is not the killer. It's this other guy that Chris Penn, I guess, works for. He's a cyborg as well. Chris Penn is. The other guy I can't figure out if he is or isn't. And that kind of threw me because when you get further on into this movie, it's hard to tell, right? I'm going to think that he's a cyborg as well, just because I like the story that way. Maybe I'm wrong. But you get a pretty big, you know, all the cards on the table, big fight between Chris Penn and Don the Dragon Wilson. And we all know who's going to win that one, right? There's no doubt. So, and not to give the ending away, but, you know, that video game I was talking about kind of comes back into play. Also, here's something that's pretty cool. Cool, maybe cheesy, maybe not cool at all. But, you know, I was talking about the thing earlier from Battle Beyond the Stars. There's a complete scene in this movie where Don the Dragon Wilson's given his backstory of how he was created, how it was all done, all that stuff. And they show in the middle of it, he's like, and there was a big laser fight in space. And it's literally scenes from Battle Beyond the Stars. The same ships. Can we use this footage again? Sure, we can use this footage again. It's my movie, right? So that's pretty interesting. That you get this footage, and I guess if you haven't seen that movie, you never know it. But you know, there's some pretty iconic ships in that movie that stand out. So, anyways, they just had to throw a story about a fight in space, I guess. Why? No idea. Didn't have to be there. It was probably one of those things of, well, we need to pad this story a little bit, and I've got this extra footage that is free to use. Let's use it. So you kind of get that thrown in there too. I really enjoyed this movie. It's right up my alley, right? It's kind of like Nemesis. Matter of fact, like I said, the director is known for doing like early computer effects, special effects. He worked on Dr. Giggles. He worked on Nemesis. But I think this is the only thing that he directed. Could be wrong, like I said. But I say check this out, man, because I mean, you know what you're getting with Don the Dragon Wilson. I mean, that's just a given, right? He's pretty much the same character and everything. He's got all of his information in his shades. I mean, it's very, very Terminator as far as his character. He's not as stiff, but still got kind of superhuman strength. And like I said, Chris Penn kind of has the same thing. He just can't handle the round kicks, man. Those roundhouses get you that's what it should have been called. Future round kick, roundhouse. Future roundhouse. Oh, man. But anyways, I say check it out. It's on Tubi. I think it's fun. And it just makes me want to watch more movies like this because I just have a blast with them. Because it's so ridiculous, you can't help but have fun with it. Meg Foster's Meg Foster. Nothing's going to change that. But out of the score, I'd say I'd give this a 4 out of 5. Yeah, I really like this one. I think it's a lot of fun. So check this one out, man. Let me know what you think. It's like I said, 1991. So that already puts an image in your head of what you're getting. But yeah, like I said, the artwork says it all. And I don't know, the movie delivers as far as what I expected. All right, that's it for this one, folks. Till then, we will check you later.